where Congress is facing a massive embarrassment as their leader's name, N.A. Harris and his son's name has surfaced in the list of individuals who have encroached stormwater drains in Bengaluru. These are live visuals coming in. Let's go across to Deepak. Deepak, are the officials going ahead with the demolition of Mr. Nalapad's property? Is that what we are watching live?
Yes, Swati, the compound that you're seeing is of the Nalapad Academy. The BBMP officials have come here with two JCBs. You can now see the operation that's going on for the demolition. They're saying that 2.5 meters in width running across this entire compound for about 100 meters is going to be demolished. And you know, they're saying that even Nalapad called the BBMP yesterday and said that, you know, they, according to their documents, they have done nothing wrong. But the BBMP says their documents are pretty clear and they need to carry out this, encroachment drive, which the government, of course, is very specific on. They do not want to leave any property, be it a person who's well-connected politically or any sort of influence. You can see another JCB from the other side moving now. So what you see right in front of these JCBs is the stormwater drain. It cuts through this particular compound, and they're saying that no building really comes in between, but at the basement there are two floors for parking. There is also a canteen. All of this, of course, needs to be restructured, but the BBMP right now is going ahead with the drive as planned. As we in fact continue to see this, we could in fact speak to the executive engineer of the BBMP, Ms. Malati, who's joining us here. Madam, if you could just tell us right now, the drive is going on. Which property are we now looking at? How much of an encroachment has there been here?
Right now we have started at Nalapad properties. It belongs to survey number 73 of Chalagatta village. This is about more than 100 meters length and wide is 2.5 meters. Causeway has been marked by the revenue department officials. That is how we are demolishing.
Did Mr. Nalapad or Mr. Harris call you or the BBMP officials pertaining to this demolition drive that you're carrying out?
Yeah, yesterday their people visited here in the spot and they said that they have in their documents there is no any Nala mentioned. So our revenue surveyors could clarify them the details, and now we are going ahead with it.
So you're going to demolish the entire stretch along the compound, or is it just going to be an initial portion?
No. This is the initial position. We'll go all along their property length, and we'll demolish and we'll connect this drain to the Chalagatta Valley.
If you could explain to our viewers, how is this sort of an encroachment going to affect the movement of water through this drain? And you know, we saw this area in particular witnessing a lot of flooding a few days ago. So how does these sort of encroachments really affect the people, the locality?
Okay, this drain is supposed to join the Chalagatta Valley, where at present it is not joined to any Nala or any lake. Hence the water was not flowing because there was a stagnant.
Deepak, we'll come back to you in just a bit. We have S. Prakash of the BJP joining us on the phone line. Mr. Prakash, what would you say now that Mr. Nalapad's property is being demolished, given that this was an illegal structure? The fact remains that here's a man who also himself took to streets to protest against the situation that stood in Bengaluru when we saw incessant rainfalls there. And today we are seeing his own properties being demolished, illegal structures over the stormwater drains.
Hello.
Mr. Prakash, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear. He made a very big spectacle when the people were suffering, and he tried to swim in the road, made a big drama. But today it is his own building is illegally built and it is now being demolished. He is now answerable. He should apologize to the people of Bangalore for his drama and for his illegal activity. It is in his blood that doing Gundaism, doing illegal activity has become very narp to him.
Is he alone responsible for this? Should he alone apologize, or are you also going to pull up those who gave permission in the first place for the construction to take place, for the encroachment to happen on stormwater drains?
Hello?
Mr. S. Prakash, is this action going to be limited only to demolition of properties, or are you also going to pull up and look into who allowed the construction to take place?
At the first, we should demolish all the illegal structures which have come up, which was caused for the flooding of the electricity area. Many IT companies were marooned in the water. Now the government is focusing on demolishing all those structures, clearing the path for the easy flow of water. Subsequently, the action against all those encroachers will follow. And even those officers who have permitted such illegal structures will also receive strict action from the state government. The Chief Minister has categorically stated no one will be spared. And with the demolition will continue, whoever he is, how high and mighty. And it is already being demonstrated from the last 2 days. The bulldozers are running non-stop in the Electronic City area, where we saw the huge flooding of water in those areas.
Mr. Prakash, also the BBMP has identified several encroachments of these stormwater drains, and at least 15 well-known entities have been identified. Demolition drives though have begun. Can you tell us more about these people? Are they politicians, more politicians involved?
The companies, some of the companies might have owned those properties, purchased from some other sources. Most of them have violated encroached the Raj Kalways, and the list has been now in the public domain. And all those areas which have been illegally encroached, government has said it will clear those encroachments, and the work has already started. I'm sure in the coming days, even if it rains in a much bigger way.
S. Prakash, I request you to please stay on with us. We also have Brijesh Kalappa joining us on the broadcast now. Brijesh Kalappa, what we are witnessing is demolition of Mr. Nalapad's property, who was in fact seen floating on a tube protesting against mismanagement. Now, his name has appeared in the list of encroachers.
See, I think as far as names are concerned, every property has to have some owner, right? Whether it's A, B, C, D or Z, that makes the slightest difference. Ultimately, who is suffering? The average citizen in Bengaluru. To alleviate the sufferings of the average citizen in Bengaluru, I think the state, if it's serious, should take action against everybody mercilessly. Any of these people, whether A to Z, just doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter, because these names don't make the slightest difference. Ultimately, the point is that people of the city must be saved. You can't have, this kind of a situation where, people are sitting in their homes and the place gets flooded, one. Two, after that, then supposing there is an epidemic which catches, because rains are not going to subside. There is a situation where rains are going to increase, and this is what the meteorologist tells us. So in a situation like this, are we going to say that no, we have to protect the property of A or B or C or Z, and then let all these people suffer? Is that something which the state can afford to do? Whoever it is, mercilessly, the action must be taken, and all these properties must be razed to the ground. And if it's an issue of compensation, just compensation, let us
also, shouldn't actually action also be taken against those who allowed the construction to happen and the encroachment to take place? These buildings clearly haven't been constructed in a span of 10-15 days. This must have happened during the Congress regime, the BJP regime, and thereon.
No, I don't know if you know that I've already left the Congress party. So
I'm not asking you that because you were earlier associated with the Congress party. I'm just saying this has happened during several regimes in the state.
No, if it's happened in collusion with authorities or with politicians, then those politicians must be acted against. Who's saying no? Certainly the action must be taken, but also the government must not keep saying that, as it has been saying, no, Pandit Nehru is responsible for all our ills and all that. This must not be allowed to go on, because government has been given the onerous task of administering. They can't keep looking backwards. You can't drive your car with your eye on the rear view mirror. So the government must not be allowed a free run and say that no, it's okay. The old,
but Mr. Kalappa, these are the very political representatives who had taken to streets to protest against the poor infrastructure in Bengaluru. Can they blame the government without first looking at their own records? Isn't that also not fair on the people?
Like I said, madam, you can't drive with your eye on the rear view. You have to look forward, right? If the government is incapable of driving forward, then let them drive backwards. That means that the government is a totally inconsequential, useless government.
Okay. Okay. All right. Mr. Kalappa, thank you very much for sharing your perspective with us. Let's go back to Deepak on ground where all the action is. Deepak, those of course are political reactions. The government saying there will be no bias. Action will be taken against everyone who has violated the laws.
Well, Swati, a lot of drama is now unfolding. Now, we are outside the building. The demolition drive where we just saw has been stalled for now. We've been told that somebody from the management here and also somebody has come here, spoken to the BBMP and asked them to stall it. They've requested a dialogue with them. One of the officials of the BBMP is headed inside. We'll of course have a word with him shortly. Some of the regional media here is trying to ask him about who has called him. As soon as they finish, of course, we'll get in a word. This is the building, of course, that you're looking at, where the allegation of encroachment has come up, and now he seems to be returning back. We'll, of course, try and get in a word from him to get a better idea as to what has happened. Sir, if you could tell us, we are live on Times now. Who called you there, and was the demolition? Why has the demolition been stalled?
Please call to madam.
I will talk to her, sir. Did somebody call, sir? Did somebody call you?
No, nobody called me.
So why has it been stalled, sir?
No, it has not stopped.
Okay, it is going to go on, but there was a person we just saw. He called you inside and asked you to come without the cameras.
Definitely,
what was the reason?
No, there is no reason. It will start.
Already there were several questions asked. Why the delay? Because this was one of the first properties listed for demolition today. Officials arrived late.
Inside there are our engineers. They called me. Okay. I am going to. What is happening
inside the building? Who asked you to come inside to have a dialogue with you inside the compound? What was that about, sir?
Our policeman has called.
Okay.
That's why. What is the problem? I want to know. Okay. That's why I'm going.
Now you're not planning to
but
go inside.
You have objected.
You're not planning to go inside now, sir.
I came back. Okay.
Okay, so you're going back, you're not going inside?
No, I will not go inside.
Well, this was the gate. Now, in fact, the demolition drive is happening at this corner. There were a few people who came here, tried to approach the engineer and say that, he should come inside without the cameras, come alone and, speak to them. What do they want to speak? It's not very clear at this point in time, but because there is political backing for this particular building. You can see the difference now, of course, with all the media questioning the BBMP staff here. While he was making his way inside to have a word with the people inside, he's now headed back towards the JCBs where the demolition drive will continue. Now, this is the front portion of the compound. It's the rear portion, of course, that will be brought down. And a bit of it has already started. But just moments after it did, there were a few officials inside who gave an instruction, a sign to stop the demolition, and the JCBs have stopped. And you can see the drivers are no longer inside.